He is Dan Hurley, Connecticut basketball coach, and joining us on the program. How's morale today?
Feeling pretty good. I think start to recover a little bit more physically, emotionally, uh, with every day that passes. You get a little more strength back. You start to get the life starts getting back in your body. It's a long season, and then when you play, when you're on those last buses on Monday night, you're playing a long season. I mean, like you're there are a lot of colleges seasons were over when we were playing the Big East tournament, so it feels like a year ago.
The high of winning and the low of losing. Can you compare those two?
Uh, yeah, I don't, maybe I didn't feel it, uh, the low of losing. I think I've, sometimes like being proud of the group and how hard they fought to give you the maximum with the group. Sometimes that has kind of been a little bit of an override on the disappointment of missing out on the confetti, the trophy, being the champions, so like proud is kind of overriding disappointment and sad. Maybe that's because we have a couple chips, but proud more than sad.
When did you realize you were in trouble?
What different things I did during the year or in the game?
No, no. You're always in trouble. I'm, I'm talking about.
Probably when I was 8 years old when I was 8 years old at OLM, Our Lady of Mercy, when Sister Mary caught me. No,
Wait,
I
what did
was
she catch you doing?
probably copying homework 5 minutes before class or
Okay,
something.
all
Was
right. That's
probably
not that bad.
No, not bad, not
Okay,
bad.
okay.
I would say in that game though, when the game first starts and you see, literally the massive challenge in terms of their size and athleticism and physicality. And I think we start the game 9-4 down, and you're like, whoa, it's going to be really hard to score, and we better be ready to fight.
But you got 22 offensive rebounds, which is kind of crazy. If I would have said that before the game, you're going to get 22 offensive rebounds, you'd probably lean towards we're winning this game.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the numbers, um, the rebounding. Obviously, we've been a great defensive team the entire year, especially guarding the 3-point line. If you would have said to me 22 offensive rebounds, obviously the defensive effort, keeping them in to what we held an excellent team. And then when you look at probably the shots that we started to get, as they started to get fatigued in the second half, we had a lot of opportunities. Obviously, you make a lot of the fast break basket to cut it to four with 2 minutes to go, would have obviously put enormous game pressure.
Yeah, I thought that was probably the key to the game. And then after the game, you said just nice things, verbal bouquets about the referees.
Yeah, listen, when you get when you get to you get to the NCAA tournament, you get the officials you get the best of the best. And the officials that you get as the tournament goes on are the best officials keep advancing. You go back and watch the film, and there's obviously things that I got wrong as a coach. There's shots that the players missed. And then, you see plays that went on during the game that, that the officials missed. It's not a perfect, situation. Obviously the hook and hold on Caravan was a big play. And then obviously they missed a couple of, they probably missed a couple too of calls, shoves in the back or what have you. But, Michigan was the best team in the country, the whole year, and they deserved it. Dusty did an awesome job. They're an all-time one of the best teams in recent memory for me.
When do you find out if Mullins is coming back?
Well, I mean, the line is starting to form.
Do
It's the supermarket. It's the deli section. I don't know what
take a
number he
number? Yeah.
has.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a for I think for teams like us and the teams that played in the Final Four national championship game, it's like it hits you like an avalanche because we literally, your season really just ended, just like literally 2 days ago, and now you've got to make all these decisions. You've got to help your players make monumental decisions. I would just say with now in college, I would say that unless it absolutely makes total sense for you to go in the draft, unless you know you're going to be a lottery pick or guaranteed to go top 15, top 18. The biggest mistake that you can make right now as a college basketball player is going to the draft too early, and not staying long enough in college because of obviously the money situation.
What's your advice going to be, or has it already been for Mullins to stay or go?
I think with what I'll tell Braylon and I'll tell his family is number one, do you like college? Do you like college? I mean, some players are in a rush to get to the NBA because they don't like being a college student. They don't like being in a college program. So I think that's like because college programs are run way differently than than NBA teams in terms of how we practice and just in how kind of rigorous study hall and going to class and then the coach being in charge of the whole operation. So yeah, I mean it's do you like college? And I think that the world has changed. There's not this pressure to go to the NBA now because of the money situation. Players like Braylon are probably he'd probably make more money at UConn next year than he would if he was the 15th pick. So those are the things that you have to weigh. How badly do I want to get out of college and get to the NBA?
Are you scheduled to face Luke Murray and BC next year?
No, I'm going to put the family. He's like a brother to me, Luke. I mean, and I couldn't imagine Bill Murray not wearing my team's hat or rooting against me now. So he's like a brother. So I'll never schedule Luke.
The transfer portal and recruiting out of high school. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a top 10 recruiting year. Maybe you had 11th as your best, but it kind of feels like you have a formula of what you're trying to do. Maybe you take a big swing and you get Braylon Mullins, but then you're also going to be filling in the pieces here. We saw that with Illinois. We saw that with Michigan. Is this the future of college basketball?
Yeah, hey, Dan, I think we're at a crossroads. I think we've got to decide, what is, who do we want to be? Do we want to try to hold the line and just go retention, high school recruiting, and maybe, cherry pick a need in the portal? Um, or is this now, are we at a point where it's like wipe the board every year and try to put together the most talented team that you can? I mean, we have our first national champion that was comprised of all portals or all transfers in Michigan. Obviously, a stud in McKinney off the bench as a high school recruit, but right now we're processing the best way for us to move forward because you got players on your team that are obviously right now weighing what they want to do, but also from a program standpoint, you also have all these players that have entered the portal, who are also reaching out for UConn that would like to potentially play here too. So, our players have decisions to make about what they want to do in the future, but we also as a staff have got to decide quickly.
Is coaching the least stressful part of this job now?
Yeah, I mean, this is terrible right now, what's going on. I mean, I think we all have to get to a point, and it's not terrible, in a sense of NIL. I think the NIL for the players is awesome. Our players made a lot of money this year, and their commitment level was to the max. So the money didn't make them lazy or hard to coach. They were awesome the whole year. But just, like I think as college programs right now, you literally have to have a front office that takes over at this point of the year. Like to take a coaching staff that now did the 6-month season, and now you've got to flip and now run recruiting visits, put the roster together, talk to the age. I mean, it's a lot. I think college programs we got to start being run like an NBA organization or a pro sports organization.
Do you have a player who has a nicer car than you?
Yeah, I mean, that was I think it was early this year. I started to see the Teslas and the BMWs, and I'm a Ford guy. I'm a Ford guy. I got my Ford Raptor truck, so I'm built tough.
Of course you are. But it used to be in the old days, players would have BMWs in nice cars. It just was not
It's
above
cash.
board.
They pay cash. Yeah, they pay cash. Now it's leases. Now they're getting leases with yeah, which is it's hey listen, it's great. The type of guys that we get at UConn, again, it's like for me, it's the transfer rule. If my sons as college or high school kids said to me, "Hey Dad, I want to transfer after my freshman year of college," I would say, "Tell me why, and I want to hear your reasons, and then I'll support you if the reasons make sense." But then at the end of their sophomore year, if they said, "I want to transfer again," and then I want to transfer again. At some point, I would, as a parent, I would be concerned.
All right. Well, you got time off now, don't you?
No, that line, it's even gotten bigger since I looked last.
Do you know how many players right now you'll have on your team next year?
No, I don't. I know. I maybe 4 or 5 out of 15, maybe. With between turning pro, players, having the role they want here. Should I test the draft process? Yeah, obviously there's tampering that's been going on. I mean, there's tampering that goes on the entire year. So now even players that aren't in the portal, everyone's in the portal.
But Danny, why do we allow schools to tamper with coaches?
Why do we what? What's that?
Why do we allow a school, North Carolina, if they're interested in Ben Golden or they're interested in, Tommy Lloyd, like, why are they allowed to do that? They're under contract.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
North Carolina didn't reach out to you, did they?
No,
Okay.
no. And when I was coaching at Rhode Island, it was really important for me that, and I knew my last year that there was going to be interest from Pittsburgh and UConn, and you obviously you have agents that are, because these schools they want to know, like they want to know. They want to know what your interest level is while you're in that other job. They don't want to wait till your season's over. But I think what was unique for me when I was coaching Rhode Island was, I refused to talk to any of those schools or to even have the intermediary, conversations until Duke beat my butt at the end of my last game after we beat Oklahoma in the tournament at Rhodey. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could do that as a coach and then come in and look at your team and then be upset with the players. And yeah, I mean, I think that as adults and as coaches, you have to have some honor with the way that you move and the decisions that you make with your career.
Hopefully you enjoy the off season. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing as always.
Always a pleasure, Dan.
Thank you, bud. That's Dan Hurley. You got to now the job really starts. You talk to these coaches, they're like, get me to a game. Let me coach.